Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Teresa and here we talk about personal growth and self-care. Today we're going to talk about taking a reset. You may have seen on social media when others talk about resetting for the week or a weekly reset. That is definitely a reset because they are cleaning, possibly organizing their space, getting everything together so they can have mental clarity to prepare for the week. That is a weekly reset. Today, I want to explore the other times in our lives that we may need to take a reset. The definition of reset is starting again in a new way or a different way. And there are many times in our lives when we experience different life challenges, experiences, just life that will require us to reset. A reset allows us to refresh our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. So basically, a reset is self-care. Self-care is when we choose to take an active role in our well-being. So taking a reset at those times in our lives that warrants a reset, not just on the weekend, but those other times of life, that is self-care in action. I'm going to share 3 times that a reset may be warranted, and then give you 4 practical ways to actually reset. We may need to reset during a life transition. You're moving to a new city, if you are getting a divorce, if you have a new baby. There are so many milestones or even challenges in life that would require us to reset. In these instances of resetting for that life change, it's going to require us to sit back, think about our values, our goals, those aspirations, and not start over, but continue forward with the reset and create a plan for this part of life, this season that you're in. And I say not start over because sometimes when you think about starting over, yes, it's a fresh start. That's why I call it a reset, and not necessarily starting over, because whatever you have acquired, accomplished, even those challenges up until this current time, there is some growth that's there. You have experienced something that is going to shape you in a positive way. You have learned, and now you will go forward with that learning to reset and continue forward on this journey. Another time you may need to reset is after feeling stagnant. If you realize that you are basically existing each day, like you're just in a rut, once you come to that awareness of the stagnation, you'll want to reset. You'll want to try new activities or even get back to old activities. What comes to mind is 2020 and 2, maybe even 3 years beyond. When we were in the pandemic, the world changed. Many things were closed, shut down, I guess depending on where you lived. But in actuality, we were not able to navigate and maneuver in our day-to-day lives as we had been. I mean, things were closed. You were sent home to work. So even when the world began to open up, I, as an introvert that I am, enjoyed being at home, not having to go outside. That made me stagnant, which I am now, just now starting to get back out and make myself go out and do things that I enjoyed doing. Going to the museum, getting out, going to movies. So when those times that you find that you are stagnant, in a rut, whatever it looks like for you, it's time to reset. Another moment in life when it is time to reset is when you are overwhelmed with stress. Stress clouds your judgment, it drains your energy. We are not meant to operate for long periods of time at high levels of stress. Our bodies were not built to sustain that. And in those moments of awareness, whether we become consciously aware or our body shuts down on us in various ways to let us know it needs rest, that is a time to reset. In this time of reset, you're able to truly recognize What is in your control? What can you prioritize? What can you influence? And where have you been lacking of taking care of yourself? So in addition to our weekly resets and preparing for the week, these are 3 other times that we may need to take a reset: during a life transition, during a time of stagnation, and during a time of overwhelming stress. Now that we have identified these times in life that we may need to reset, here are 4 practical steps to reset. The first practical way to reset is to reflect and assess. Take time to determine what's working and what's not. Journaling your thoughts is a tool that can help you determine what your needs are in this moment or in this season. If you do not journal, maybe it's something you should consider. One of the benefits is once you begin journaling consistently, and this doesn't have to be every day, it could be every other day, 2 or 3 times a week. And when you read back over them, you can possibly find a pattern that you didn't realize, because at times when we are in the moment and we get into those stressful situations or just the day-to-day and we are not thriving, because we don't always thrive, sometimes we just exist. But when you look back over your journal, you're able to read and realize, oh my goodness, I am in the midst of this, whatever it is, and realize it's time for a reset. So I highly recommend journaling as a tool. It's a practical way to understand and identify what's going on in those times of needing a reset. The next practical step to reset is to set new goals. In your reflections, you may be able to identify you need new goals, or rather than new goals, you may simply need to pause on your current goals. Sometimes when life events happen, we just need to pause. That pause does not mean you're a failure, you created goals, you have this vision board, you have these action steps you need to take, and you're not doing it. Life happens. And in those moments, pause. In that pause, you reset. And in the reset, you may identify, I need to pause. That simply means whatever is occurring right now in life, both of those together is causing that overwhelming stress that we identified previously. So whatever's going on, pause the goal, go through this journey of handling what is currently happening, and at a time that makes sense for you and what's occurring in your life, you continue with your goal. And even at that time, you may need to assess that goal. Maybe you created a time frame in which to complete it, and it's just not feasible anymore. That's okay. You can shift it and change it. The next practical step to reset is change your environment. Sometimes a physical change can spark mental clarity. I'm not saying you have to move, but for example, I work at home. Sometimes just physically changing my environment gives me a boost of energy. It changes my thought process. So if I move from my desk, sometimes moving to the kitchen table, sometimes moving to the sofa, or a day or two going to a coffee shop for a couple of hours. So whatever your situation, think about how can you change your physical area. Is it by moving your body to another location, or is it physically rearranging the area? Maybe declutter some of the things around you. Maybe rearrange your space somehow, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you need to move a chair from one area to another. Maybe even a refresh of your environment. I recently put up some curtains that I had for a long time, just never did it. That was a refresh that reset how I felt in the environment. Small physical changes can reset us in the moment. Going back to that step of reflect and assess. In the process of journaling, you can find you a page and title it Quick Wins. Keep a list of all the small things that you can do quickly, because small wins create powerful, positive outcomes when it comes to a reset. Sometimes we just need a reset in the moment throughout our days. So, for example, I have one of those lists. It's things that I think of that are nowhere near a priority on my day to day. But when I need those small wins, I just take a moment, look at my list, find something that I can get done quickly, 15 minutes or less, mark it off, and it's an accomplishment. It's something that I had control of, that I can do. And sometimes that's all we need, because so many things around us, we don't have the ability to control it. It's out of our control. Recently, I have it's not a junk drawer, it's a gadget drawer. So it's like where I have, the little thing that you squeeze lemons and little gadgets like that. And I always said, I need to organize this just a bit more. You use that stuff, you throw it back in. So one day, very recently, I was like, looked at my list, went and lit a candle, because another thing for me is aromatherapy. And so I lit my candle, went to that drawer, emptied it out, wiped the drawer out, put it back in an organized fashion. Boom, less than 15 minutes. And I felt accomplished because I got to mark something off that list. Something was in my control, and it was a quick win. And again, say it with me, quick wins are powerful, positive outcomes. Embrace the power of a reset. Thanks for watching, and if you found this information valuable, please subscribe. Remember, it's a journey. See you next time.